didn't even know they did leases for 84 months. I've always heard of a 3, sometimes a 4 year. This is a lease? Happy Tuesday evening, family. Okay, folks, really quickly, first off, thank you so much for being here with me. I really appreciate it. You could be anywhere else on your Tuesday evening, but instead you're here with me. Heartsies. All right, really quick, before we start the Dave Ramsey show on Your Desperation Got You Screwed by the Car Dealership, and it ran about 3 weeks ago. Don't forget also Thursdays, usually starting at 7, sometimes starting at 7:15. There is a live stream. I live stream for around an hour. Might be a little longer, might be a little shorter, yada yada, okay? But I hope to see you on Thursday night's live stream, okay? Really quickly, the 10-minute series that I've not done that many 10-minute series videos, but it's just 10 minutes of discussing something. Family, gotta be honest, it's really kind of tanked on this channel. Hey, it is what it is. This is a hobby, okay? But it's not done well. So, because I still like it, I don't want to totally get rid of it, I had this bright idea. The series itself, a standalone series, that's ending, okay? But I'm going to attach it when I do decide to do a 10-minute. Guess what I'm going to attach it to? Yeah, it's going to become part of the pre-show for the live streams, which is just a perfect slot to put it in. So that means on the pre-shows, if and when I feel like it, because you know it's all about if I feel like it, all right? If and when I feel like it, I'm just simply going to put the 10 minutes into the pre-show as part of the live stream, because it dawned on me I kind of do that anyways with other live stream stuff, you know. So anyways, the standalone 10-minute series is going away. Yes, Parlor, I know you, I think, was either you or Mr. D. It was one of you that said, don't tell me it's so. Yes, I understand. I can't quite remember which one of you it was, but to both of you longtime viewers and stuff, okay? Yes, I understand it's heartbreaking, but don't worry, you can look for it on the pre-show. But there isn't always a pre-show with the live stream, okay? But just if I'm going to do it 10 minutes, that's where it's going. All right, folks, let's go ahead. And it's Tuesday evening, so let's take a look here. Your desperation got you screwed by the car dealership. That was 3 weeks ago. I'm so glad you're here with me. Let me go ahead, take this straight on down. And let's find out exactly what this car dealership issue is. Probably too much car, not enough budget. Let's hit it.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
I was calling because I have a vehicle that basically between the payment and the insurance is about $900, and I'm not really good with finances in the slightest, and I'm trying to figure out what the next best step is to kind of get out of it.
All right, people, you know, I got to hand it to some of these callers, family. They have been coming right out of the horse gate with the tea. Let's do it, family. Let us spill that tea. Always so refreshing. All right. When he says he has a $900 a month car payment, $900 payment, and I believe he said that has insurance also, that includes insurance. Whew, I know about you, family, but insurance in Florida is absolutely ridiculous, okay? We're talking, I pay for my Toyota Corolla hybrid, and it's brand new. It's about 4 months old, okay? So I bought it spring 2024, 4 months ago. I pay $175. You know what, guys? The sun is shining through, and I'm not stopping this whole video over again. So let me close the shades so you don't see sunshine lights. Just hold on. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Sing to yourself while I close the blinds. Your viewing comfort is my priority. Hold on. This rolly chair that I got at Marshall's, it has served me well. Okay, there. Now you won't see the sun lines as the sun goes down. Okay, $900 month car payment. So I was saying I pay $175 a month. And you all know, if you've been following me, okay, I was on driving probation for going a little bit over the speed limit. Not much, all right? Like 16, okay, it was 16 miles over no, it was 6 miles over the speed limit 1 minute, and then I kid you not, it went 16 miles over just because they posted a sign from 70 to 60 for no reason, no traffic, no rainy weather. It is what it is. All right, but I got off of driving probation on that. Okay, so when you really get down to it, car insurance is wildly wicked, but I did check for the car insurance on my vehicle before I bought the vehicle, the Toyota Corolla Hybrid, okay? Before I bought it. And it didn't really, it's not the car that really jacked up the insurance. That only came to something like 15, 20 bucks. It's just insurance is just another way for them to price gouge. All right, and here's something to also consider, folks, when you buy a car. Don't forget, in certain states, you can be given a ticket if you don't change your car title, insurance, license, all that stuff, or that at least that car registration stuff within 30 days or less. Like I think in Florida, you only have 30 days to change it, or another ticket for you. All right, so just be considering that. Car insurance is ridiculous, and I am coming clean, as you know. Okay, when I was 31. I had my Nissan Maxima repossessed because I was stupid. And when I did the math, and of course I'm 57, so you got to go back to, the 90s here, okay? I realized that my car was taking up darn near half my paycheck. Hey, we live and learn.
Basically, I'm basically under it as well. I'm definitely not going to be able to get out of it. What I paid for certain, and the payments are basically really, really weighing it down.
Let me give you another perspective. His $900 a month for his vehicle with insurance. My entire cost of living once Crimson, my hybrid Corolla, once Crimson is paid off. Crimson has 4 more payments. Ah, sweet Jesus. I've been working to pay this car off in 8 payments because it's brand new. I saved up $9,000, and I'm telling you, I've put every freaking dime practically that I've had into it, with the exception of some new bed comforters I got at Macy's last weekend, okay? With the exception of that, we all know my love of comforters, and I put them in a storage unit, okay? But hey, we're talking $500 comforters, family, went down to $85. This is how I shop. Do you think I'm going out buying $550 comforters? Oh, heck no. Those comforters dropped to $85. Final clearance. Can't return it. That's okay because I didn't tend to return it anyways, all right? But I have been working and working to get my car paid off in 8 months. It looks like there is a wing and a prayer that I can make it. I want it paid off in November.
Okay. What do you owe on the car?
I think the remaining balance is about $25,000 to $26,000.
Where'd you get that figure?
That's based off of the buyout from the loan company that I use.
Okay, I'm not really good at buyouts. That means the loan company that he used? Well, if the loan company that you use, if you allowed them to screw you over once, do you think they're going to give you a buyout figure that's not in their favor? I'm assuming buyout means if he doesn't want it anymore, he can give it up. I think that's what a buyout means. I could be wrong.
Okay. Is it a lease?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, it's a lease? It's a lease. Hold up. Hold up, family. Hold up. Hold on. Let me hit the play button.
The loan company that I use.
Okay. Is it a lease?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. So it's a lease. And as you know, again, if you follow me, I got out. I finally ended my 5-year lease because I chose to lease. I chose to lease a Toyota Corolla, and then I went and bought the hybrid. Best financial decision I ever made, to buy the hybrid, and a great financial decision as to why I chose to lease. Okay. Yes, leasing is not for everybody, but I did a video on that. All right. About why I chose to lease. And it turned out to be one of the best things I ever did. But notice what I leased. I leased a Toyota Corolla. And by the time I leased it, I just leased the last 5 years. Okay, I've only owned a vehicle when I got the hybrid 4 months ago. Up until then, I'd leased for the last 5 years. So I'm only 4 months out of leasing. But even so, whether you agree or disagree with leasing, that's not what we're here to debate, all right? But still, I made sure that I leased a vehicle that I could afford. Because a lot of times people will go, well, it's a lease, so I only have to pay on it for 3 years. Wow, you know? But you got to be careful, because look at what's happened to the economy in the last, 12 months. Oh, I bet I know what the buyout is. Now that I'm aware that it's a lease, it's how much it would cost him to buy out the car. I wish I had my soundboard. See, I'd have all these effects in here. Guys, you're just going to have to put in imaginary soundboard effects, because I'm too lazy to go through the whole video and add in all the effects. All right? But, so let's pretend we put in some audience cheer, yada, yada. Okay, so here's the thing. Hey, if you follow me, I don't like editing. Editing takes a long time. That's what he means by the buyout. Now the buyout makes sense, because at first I was like, a buyout if you bought a car, if you don't want it. But now the lease, it makes sense. He was probably going, okay, my car and insurance payment is $900 a month. It's a lease. Oh gosh, hit myself over the head. And it doesn't count gas. You still got to pay for gas, because I can tell you this ain't no hybrid. My Corolla takes $10 a week, so about $40 a month. I go to the gas station so rarely, it's really cut down on my Thornton's hot dogs. I used to do Thornton's hot dogs when I went and got my car filled up every weekend. Now I only get a Thornton's hot dog like once a month, because that's about how often I fill up my car, about every 3 weeks. But keep in mind, I don't drive that much, and I'm only 6 miles from work, so you're going to have to use your own numbers. But I think you will still find, at least with the hybrid, it does drastically drop your gas. But you have to look at other things like, engine and battery cost replacement, okay, perks and all that, which I don't want to get into all that tonight. But now that I understand that's a lease, he probably went, oh my goodness, I want to get this $900 a month payment, so I'm going to buy it. It's my opinion, however, having lost a car, having leased a car, and having so far successfully bought a brand new car, if you can't afford something in a lease, this is just my opinion, because I've now walked the whole track of car ownership. If you can't afford a lease, I don't think buying it's going to solve your problem, because now you go from a 36-month problem, respectively, to a multi-year problem. Hey, Uber's picking up, Walmart's picking up deliveries. In other words, I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think you should take something that you can solve in 36 months, if not less, and go, hey, I can't pay this off in 36 months, so let me see if I can turn around and buy it. If he can't do this in 36 months, I guarantee to you, this is the type of guy that would set up nothing less than a 5-year car payment. Nothing less.
So the early buyout is they told you they didn't give you an actual figure, but you.
No, sir. It was just about it was about 25 is from what they kind of roughly get into.
And they're not going to give him an actual figure until the day so-called of the buyout, because the market is up and down. Why would they want to give him an actual figure? Put it in writing, and then he goes, okay, and 3 months later, they realize they might have estimated wrong as to what the car is worth.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Give them an email or a phone call and tell them you need in writing what the buyout is this month.
And he's only gonna, and I agree with that, but he's only gonna they're only gonna make that offer available for a few days, possibly days, possibly not,
okay.
Possibly not even weeks. Sorry, I hit the button there.
Okay. Then we know what we're dealing with. You said you think it's around 25. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what do you think the car is worth?
Anywhere from 16 to high, like I saw in Kelly books, anywhere from 16 to 17.5.
Is that trade-in or private sale?
That was private sale.
I'd like to know how long he had this lease. Now, again, we're putting aside my vehicle faults, okay? I've acknowledged them. All right, may they not happen again, and they've not happened again. Okay, so let's put aside my vehicle faults. All right, the things that I did wrong. He did not go into this lease with a plan. Now, something I've learned, yes, it doesn't matter if you're leasing or buying, but for the purpose of this call, because he's leasing, and I am, at this point, I would consider myself a leasing expert, okay? When you lease for 5 years and you've done your due diligence and homework, okay? And I've leased successfully each time, all right? And even though I ended my second lease about 6 months early, I did it so I could buy the hybrid. And there was a reason I wanted to end it early, because the value of my car, the residual value, they estimated my car to be worth, think in terms of the used Corolla, okay? It was about 2.5 years old, all right? When I gave it up 6 months, I gave it about 6 months early. They had the residual value, the residual value being the value that the auto company thought the car would be worth, the lender. Okay, the lender thought my Toyota Corolla hybrid would be worth approximately $13,000 when I turned it in this fall. I was due to turn in the car October 2024. They estimated it would be worth $13,000, but the market being what it is, all right, the actual value of the car was $18,000. With that $5,000 difference, that was in my favors, and I was afraid that if I waited till October and wrote out the entire lease, that by the time October came around, the car actually could be worth $13,000. So I was like, hey, let's get this sucker turned in now. Help me get into a new car. Otherwise, I'm just going to look at the finance company, Southeast Toyota, and that's my finance company. And I was going to say, hey, you know what? I'll just cut you a check for basically $13,000, because I already had about $9,000 of it saved up. I only owed them $5,000 more. So he went into this just not thinking. I'd like to know how long he was into his lease before it started falling apart, and I'd like to know what type of vehicle he got.
Okay, how long have you had the car?
2 years now.
Okay.
How long is the lease? He's only got another year. Of course, folks, when you're broke, when you are flat broke, and I've been there, and I'm sure some of you out there have been there too, we don't look at year. We look at what is the bank balance right now, how much can I put on my credit card tonight to keep the electric bill on. Now, I have been very fortunate. I've never had I've been bankrupt a few times, but it's never interfered with my electrical or my water. Those bills have always been paid, even through my bankruptcy and stuff, because those are really minor bills for the most part, okay, for the most part. But if he's had it for 2 years and the standard lease is 3 years, he's got 12 more payments. But if you don't have $900 a month plus gas, all right, then it doesn't matter if you have 12 more payments or 3 more payments. You don't have the money. And there is one thing, I'll be totally honest, I think right next to an eviction. Eviction is one bill I would never want. The eviction. And I feel horrible for the most part for people who go through it. If it was truly through no fault of their own, they could not avoid it. Okay, and it wasn't through carelessness, and we're going to walk down Main Street and say, we're not going to pay rent. All right, just because we don't think we should. Okay, I have different feelings about that, not for discussion really on this channel. Okay, but as far as, let's just take people who honestly, through no fault of their own, COVID, they both lost their jobs. Okay, nothing that they did wrong and have had to face evictions and stuff like that. That is horrible, because most of the rental companies, as you know now, are corporate owned, which means you go apply to one company, that company's got a spider web of legs that go to all the other companies. And even if they're not related to that other company, they all got networks and chains and scratching each other's back and saying, give me your list of evictions and I'll, trade with you my list of evictions. In other words, corporate renting from corporations and having an eviction it can be darn near impossible. I'm not saying it is impossible. It can be darn near.
And what'd you pay for it?
I believe it came out to $31,000.
Hold on, I lost. Dave, by the way, if you're not seeing the screen, Dave looks really puzzled by this whole thing. We're gonna back this up just for a second.
And what'd you pay for it?
Hold on, that's still not backed up. Here we go.
16 to high, like I saw in Calgary books, anywhere from 16 to 17.5.
Is that trade-in
sale.
or private sale?
That was private sale.
Okay. How long have you had the car?
2 years now.
Okay. And what'd you pay for it?
I believe it came out to $31,000.
Okay. How long a lease is this?
It was 84, I believe, is what it was.
Wait, everybody just freeze. What? This is a lease. People, I might just have to go and put in that screech sound effect because that's just serious business. Don't count on it. A lease? Oh, this is when I need my family on the live stream with me, okay? Jamie, Home with Love, Jeremy, okay? 84 months. Don't worry, MJ, I didn't forget you either. 84-month lease. Isn't that something like 6, 7? That's. I think that's 7 years. I won't embarrass myself and tell you I'm not quite sure. I think that's 7 years though. Okay, because 5 is 60, 7 is 122, 82, 83. Yeah, that's 7 years. Hey, that's how I do it. That's the carry math method. Think it out in my head, count it out. All right. I didn't even know they did leases for 84 months. I've always heard of a 3, sometimes a 4 year. This is a lease, not a purchase. Okay, if I totally lost it and he did purchase it, okay, that makes sense. But if it's a lease, okay, folks, I could be wrong. I'm not starting this over again. Mistakes happen. Either way, whether he purchased the car or whether he leased the car, this is insane. Absolutely insane. I could have sworn, though, I heard him say he leased it.
So how old are you? 22?
Feel like it, but I'm 28.
Oh, okay.
And how many times have we heard, I got taken by the car dealership. They screwed me over. Did they screw him over? Or did he allow himself to be screwed over? Was I screwed over when I bought a car that I couldn't afford because I was getting the greedy? Yes, the greedy of, ooh, there's a Nissan Maxima. I want that. That car is so pretty. And then I go in, blinders on, dumb as a brick, and say, yes, let me trade in the car that had a $300 payment for a car that had a $500 payment, more insurance, more maintenance. It's 28. Little past what we can call the entry-level stage, you know. That's why Dave was saying 22, 23. 28, you're pushing 30. But heck, I got my repossession at 31, 32. Guy, the poor caller. Who is this caller? Daniel in Richmond, Virginia. Daniel, I'm so sorry. Sorry you allowed this to happen to you. Hopefully you'll learn the lesson. Many of us have.
Yeah, all right.
Dave Ramsey looks like he just lost his best friend in this whole call. Just saying.
What do you make?
I make about 54 a year.
Okay, so he makes $54,000 gross a year. I like to put things in perspective. Okay, my check is about $62,000. With a little part-time job, I can bump it up to $70. But let's just look at my gross pays, about $62, right around there. Okay, give or take. My cost of living, with $500 of food included, is $1,700. So you figure $1,200 for my bills as they stand today. That includes $435 for HOA, $185 for car insurance. As they stand today, my bills are $1,200 plus another $500 for food. This guy is $900 just for his car and his insurance, and it does not include gas. So let's count that as at least $1,000, $1,100. I'm going to go big or go home on gas, and let's just say, because my suspicion is a guy like this did not exactly buy a gas-efficient car. That's my hunch. This type of guy did not go and say, okay, this is me going into the Toyota dealership, all right, even when I leased it, I literally said, I want the lowest grade car that Toyota makes, because I knew that the lowest grade car that Toyota made would still be darn good. And while sometimes people make fun of the Corolla, the number one thing they make fun of the Corolla for, literally, and it doesn't matter if it's the hybrid or the full gas, okay, is that people don't think it's flashy. I don't care. It gets me from point A to point B. I don't lose sleep. Even if I had no insurance on the car, which of course I legally drive, but even if I had no insurance on the car and I had to replace the car, I could replace that sucker within a year. I would have to give up my retirement savings for that year because it would have to go to a car because I can't save $25,000 a year for retirement and make $25,000 car payment, okay, to replace a car. But the fact of the matter is I could still replace it, all things considered.
So rough take home's about $3,000. There's a little bit more with the car.
Yeah, that $3,000 sounds about right. About $3,000. He's on teacher income. Oh wow! So figure $1,100 towards the car, and he's got to wash it unless he washes it for free at the dealership. So that's 11. 12. His car. Okay, here's another perspective. His car with, let's just say, $200 a month of gas, because I know it's not going to be a gas efficient car. Okay, you just know this. All right. His car with let's say $200 a month gas and car wash. We'll just throw that in there. Okay. Is almost identical to my $1,200 a month current cost of living. Let that sink in, family. This is how cars make you go broke. Okay? Now some people sit and go, well, yeah, okay, but you're nearly debt free and stuff. Yeah, I made darn sure after my 2 bankruptcies, I learned my lesson. Just start chipping those bills way, way down. Live in 840 square feet, drive a Corolla, don't go on big fancy vacations. By the way, speaking of big fancy vacations, without getting off topic here, I've always wondered on TikTok, all these people talk about the vacations they go on, even on YouTube also. I'm like, where do these 20 and 25-year-olds have all this money to go to the Grand Caymans, and then I went to here, and I went to Paris, and yada, yada. Where do they have all this money? It's just something I've wondered.
I had to get a cosigner on it as well when it all kind of came about. So I've been trying to figure out the best way to kind of get past all of it. So take home after everything is roughly about $3,000 a month.
Oh, sweet Jesus. People, cosigning. What does Dave Ramsey, and I'm of the same church of cosigning. In other words, I believe the same thing that Dave Ramsey says about cosigning. Never cosign. If you don't have the ability to write a check that same day that you co-signed to pay the bill off. Don't co-sign because, oh, well, that's a really good friend of mine, and I just, felt bad that they might have to take the bus or they'd have to ride, ride a bicycle to get to work. Sorry. I love my siblings dearly. I will not co-sign. I can't. I can't afford it. I could put my residence up at risk. I could put my vehicle at risk. If I don't, and I would never ask them to do it, ever. That's not even an option. I will house them inside my place so they can work a full-time job faster than I would ever co-sign. I will not co-sign for people. Okay, I stand corrected. If my sister's like, oh, could you co-sign $1,000 on something? Okay, but why would I do that? Because I could afford to just write a check and pay it off. In other words, if I lost that $1,000, it would not make or break what I was currently doing. Not saying that's what I would do. I'm giving an example. I don't have $1,000 to just give away. I wish I did. Okay, I'm using it as an example. But that's even something my siblings, one of my siblings I've talked about. We can't co-sign. I cannot co-sign for your medical procedure. I cannot co-sign for your car, your house. I can't co-sign for you to save the roof over your head. If I don't have the money to just simply write a check right then and there on the day that I'm co-signing for whatever it is that I'm supposed to be co-signing for, and I can't just hand it to you, then I cannot co-sign for you. And you can bet that whoever co-signed for him, I sure hope it wasn't a friend. I don't think friends should ever co-sign. Ever, ever, ever. I don't think family members should co-sign. Okay, and you've heard me say this before possibly, okay? The only people that should ever co-sign, in my opinion, is parent to child, and that's if the parent has the financial means with the money currently sitting in the bank account to pay it off. Okay, your kid wants to rent a apartment. It's going to cost, this day and age, okay, $1,500 a month. They want a 1-year lease. Do you have that money? if the parent does not have that money sitting in their account at that time in reserve, okay, should you not be able to pay that $1,500 a month rent, the lease on your apartment, then the parent should not co-sign. Those are the only co-signers I think that should ever happen. I don't think siblings should co-sign. No.
Okay, you must be getting a big tax refund, or you're taking a bunch of stuff out of your check.
Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff. I somehow seem to be owing every once in a while. But between taxes and health insurance, it's about 32, give or take, 31 to 32.
That's only $36,000. You should be getting home with a lot more than that on a 54 income.
No, actually, I'm going to say Dave's about right. Yeah, school teacher income. School teacher, single people, we get taxed the upwards, backwards. Single people, no kids, live alone. Okay, no, that actually sounds very right. I've only recently broken 60K a year, so I know what the 50s is. It ain't that high. It is not that high. On what his car insurance is at $1,100, I guarantee to it's wiping out most, not all, but it's wiping out most of one paycheck. So him basically saying his take home is his take home is about $3,000 divided over 2 checks. That's about $1,500. Yeah, I'm going to actually say he's right on the money there.
Something's wrong with your math. So you need to investigate why you're not getting home with more money and understand that. And if there's some things you can cancel there, like if you got a bunch of rip-off insurance or something that's not your health insurance at work, then getting nickeled and dimed. And if you're getting a tax refund, you need to change your withholding, and I think you probably are. So did you get a tax refund last year?
Well, let's talk about that withholding part, okay? I always have them withhold. I always claim 0 on my taxes. Now, we are not here to debate. I mean, feel free to debate in the comments if you want, okay? I mean, by all means. But I refuse to want to owe. I do not want to owe. And I know that people go, well, you should claim everything and you should just break even. Forget it. I'm not going to play that game. I claim 0. And for the last 20 years or so, I get about $2,000 tax refund. That's my peace of mind. And it also acts as mad money for whatever I wish. That's my little forced savings account. I'm happy with that. The stress I would get of trying to claim it now and think, okay, I'm going to owe, forget it. So even if he had a tax claiming of 0, it's not that much. It might bring him an extra, 100, 150. Again, I'm speaking from experience, all right? Because I have made exactly what he's made for most of my teaching career. I've been in the 50s. So I've been able to have a lot of experience about what you can take home in the 50s. So even his tax withholding, even if he claims 0, you're only talking maybe an extra $150 a month, And like I said, to me, it's worth having Uncle Sam hold it. I don't care if it's a free loan to Uncle Sam. The stress and the peace of mind that I get knowing that I've claimed 0, that I'm going to get something back, it's a little bit of fun money, I'm totally cool with that.
No, sir.
You did not.
Well, federally, I think I got about $100.
Have you got money going into your 401k?
No, sir.
Okay.
This is 28 and broke.
I don't know where your money's going, but there's a problem. There's a hole here somewhere. Anyway.
No, to me, it's very logical. He's right on darn near what I took home. Like I said, this $1,100, because let's face it, we got to include gas and maybe a car wash, okay? This $1,100, I'm estimating about $150, maybe a little bit more. Because I don't remember what the car was, but I guarantee you it's a gas guzzler. 110% guarantee it to you. That's how he's in these payments that he's in, all right? It really is pretty accurate, in my opinion, when he says he takes home about $3,000. He's on school teacher income.
And you're working 40 hours a week doing what? What do you do for a living?
I work as a logistic technician for a marble and granite company.
Okay.
It's about 50 to 60 hours a week.
Okay.
Well, Dave's still going to tell him, or John sitting next to him, is still going to tell him, pick up a side job.
All right. Well, you desperately need $8,000 or $10,000 to write a check for the difference in what the car is worth and what the early buyout is. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
and get the car sold. That's the answer. And so where are we going to get $8,000 or $10,000? I'm guessing you have no money saved, correct?
Just the 1,000
Yeah.
emergency fund.
This is how we go broke, family, on a car. This is how a car can take everything from you. A freaking car. A car that takes you from point A to point B. You broke over a car.
And how much other debt do you have other than this car?
I have a credit card with maybe like $100, but that's really not all. I haven't really used credit cards my whole life.
Who is the car? Who is this ridiculous lease with?
It is a lease. I have never heard of an 8-year lease. 8 years. Okay, look, 8 years. 8 years paying on a car, and he still has to turn it in? 8 years? Where did he get that? I mean, look, I know I leased for 5 years, but I leased the cheapest car I could. My lease payments were like I think my lease was like $300. Okay, it wasn't that expensive, and I did that for 5, and yeah, I didn't own it. But I understood why I was doing it and all of that wonderful stuff, and it was like a 300. This guy is like 9. So he walked out and he said, "Hey, I think it's a good idea." He said, "My car and insurance." So insurance being a couple hundred. So he walked out with like a $700 a month car payment. Let's just estimate insurance at $200. For 8 years? Why wouldn't you just buy a car? It's just a thought.
It's with a company called Consumer Portfolio.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
That just sounds like a suspicious company. Consumer Portfolio.
Okay. Your desperation for a car, whatever created the desperation, I don't know, caused you to get screwed.
And don't forget the cosigner. Who is the cosigner? Because if he can't pay this, guess what, cosigner? You on the hook. You never cosign for someone over emotion. Okay? We never cosign over emotion. You only cosign over logistics. Or is it No, that's... What is it? Logic. And logic is, if you're not the parent to child, and if you're not the parent that has enough money sitting in a savings account, not future income, oh, I'll sign it for you, dear child, because I expect to get a raise. What happens if you don't get that raise? No, I'm talking you got the money in the account right now. If my child misses the first bill, I can wipe it out, and I'm not going to hate my child for forever.
And get a cosigner in the process of getting screwed because you've got a horrible loan. And you just bought a car and desperately wanted that car for some reason, so you're willing to do whatever because you're dealing with a subprime lender, and they pulled in a cosigner, and you probably paid too much for this car, it sounds like, on top of all that.
What is the vehicle? I want to know.
And so, and all of that was because they saw you coming, and you had that stink on you of desperation or impulse or immaturity or something. I don't know, but something led you into a really, really bad car deal, and you made all the decisions. So that makes it that much harder to get out of this.
It could also make bankruptcy more complicated too, because you have a cosigner. Oh, yeah, see how nasty this can get? This can get really nasty. I'm not even sure how the logistics work with a bankruptcy. Okay, so I assume what happens, actually, I do know how it works. Gee, Carrie, how do I have that experience and knowledge? Okay, if he has to claim bankruptcy, he can claim bankruptcy on his end, okay, which stops the car dealership from coming after him, but they can still go after his cosigner, which therefore could also push his cosigner into a bankruptcy. The cosigner doesn't have it. And how many people cosign for cars? They don't have the money. I want you to really absorb this, family. This is over a car. Now, I've been there. And I look at it and I go, how on earth, as I sat on the steps listening to them chain up my Maxima when I was 31, 32. All right. And I remember sitting there, how did I get into this situation? Well, because you let emotion run it. I wasn't trained. I didn't have enough knowledge. I didn't have enough experience. I didn't have enough financial acumen to really be able to understand what I was getting myself into. And that may be very hard for people who have the knowledge. whether you got the knowledge through a family member that taught it to you step by step, or whether you got the knowledge through just hard luck and now you're old enough and you have it. It's kind of like this. I spoke to a person the other day who was not aware, and I kind of had to apologize to this person. I didn't remember where I was at. It was casual conversation, all right? Just one of those casual things, all right? And I'd said to her, oh, I know why, because she was looking for teaching job. She was considering being a teacher. And I was like, oh, well, I said, the neat thing I said about teaching is that, you can change schools. You can stay with the district and change schools. You want to be courteous, make sure you finish out the year or whatever with the school that you have. I said, but you can just, change schools as long as you're in the same district and meet certain qualifications, subject and all of that you're teaching. Well, she had no idea. Excuse me. I mean, no idea that you could actually change schools. And I was like, how would somebody not know that a teacher, as teachers, we're not, stranded, stuck, island, on one school. We can move around. And I remember I kind of looked at her and I was like, oh, you didn't know. Oh, I remember how I came into it. It's a neighbor. She walks a really cute little Jack Russell Terrier. She lives in my complex. And I kind of looked at her and I said, you didn't know you could change schools? She goes, no. She goes, I thought every time a teacher changed schools, they had to quit the job, reapply with the district and stuff. And I kind of looked at her and I said, no. And then it dawned on me, how would she know? How would she know? She's not in the business. She doesn't have that type of experience. Okay, it's kind of like if you've never run a YouTube channel, there's some basic things you may not know. You would not know. How would you know it? So I politely apologized to her, and I was like, oh, the polite apology. Okay, you don't admit you're totally wrong, but you're like, oh, I totally understand why you wouldn't know that. Sorry about that. But it dawned on me, things that financial information that we take for granted, again, either through our own personal mishaps and years have gone by, we've learned our lesson, or through someone teaching to us. If you don't know, you don't know. It's really some of these financial cases are you don't know what you don't know. All he knew is he wanted this vehicle emotionally for whatever reason. He either needed it for, emotional ego reasons to make himself feel better, be the man on the top, or, feel like I'm on top of the world because I'm the man, or he needed it because he was desperate, needed to get to work. It could be a number of reasons. And really the reasons don't matter to a certain extent. What really ultimately matters is that you can't afford the car and what financially got you there.
So learn your lessons from it. The good news is you learn it at 28. You don't have to do it again, right?
Yes, sir.
So when I was your age, I was going bankrupt because I was an idiot. So I got you beat. You just did a bad car deal.
This is a really bad car deal, especially because it involves a cosigner. So this is almost, okay, even though I know Ramsey went millions on bankrupt, this in some ways is its own bankruptcy case. Because keep in mind, if he can't afford these payments, it goes to the cosigner. And I'm willing to bet you the cosigner can't afford it. This is an 8-year lease. I'm just blown away. I didn't even know they did 8-year leases. He's only 24 payments into it. This is why I sleep at night, knowing that my Toyota Corolla Hybrid has a total of 8 payments, and I have 4 left.
Lost everything. So we both get to learn our lessons and never repeat the lesson, okay? And that's what I want you to do here, man. And if you just go back and analyze what you were telling yourself. I was forced. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You got all freaking emotional and bad and just completely signed anything they put in front of you because you were walking away with that car and nobody was stopping you. And you drugged somebody else to the table with a cosign. So anyway.
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. It was all about emotion.
Put all that in the rearview mirror, but be sure you smoke that pipe before we're done and never do it again. Now, then the way to get out is we've got to go take 6 extra jobs. You're going to be working all the time. You're single, aren't you?
I live with my girlfriend.
Okay.
Oh, I bet I know what happened. I bet I know what happened. Oh, did I just mess this up? Did I seriously just mess this up? Hold on. We are really close. If I have to pause the tape, I will. We're going to possibly have to momentarily pause the tape. Hold on.
Both get to learn our lessons and never repeat them.
Oh, good. I'm right smack on target. I can't believe that. Hold on.
And just completely signed anything they put in front of you because you were walking away with that car. Nobody was stopping you. And you drug somebody else to the table with a cosign. So anyway, put all that in the rearview mirror, but be sure you smoke that pipe before we're done and never do it again. Now, then the way to get out is we've got to go take 6 extra jobs. You're going to be working all the time. You're single, aren't you?
I live with my girlfriend.
Pause. All right. Now, family, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah, I had to rewind that, but that's because I accidentally stopped the video for those who can't see the screen. Now we starting to think what happened. He lives with his girlfriend. He's probably been living here with her for a year or so. He wanted to impress her. This was the I am the man car. This was the, you know what, I got the chick, I got the car, and I got the lease on both. The rent and, not on her, okay, but on the, wherever they probably live, they're probably renting. So he has a lease there, and he has a lease on the car. Now it's starting to make sense as to how he got into this. Okay? It seems like 28. I don't know. I guess it's not too old, but I don't know. It just seems like you're closer to 30. You kind of might be out of that muscle car stage of trying to impress the woman. I guarantee you, too, that's what this car was for, or at least part of it.
Okay. You're not going to be home much. You're going.
And when you lose the car, depending upon the type of car was, how do we not know what type of car this is? Oh, my goodness, okay? You might lose the girlfriend, too. Please don't tell me the girlfriend was the cosigner. Oh, sweet Jesus. Please don't tell me she was the cosigner.
You're going to be working a lot, doing anything that will pay you good money that is moral and ethical.
And sometimes you have to sidestep the moral and ethical. I'm just kidding. Hold on. We are a wholesome family channel here.
I want you to go bananas for a short period of time. A couple of grand a month extra income coming in. And
that's never as easy to make as it seems. And don't start Uber driving, because I don't want your ass on the road tired. See, everybody's, okay, you know what Dave is thinking. I can't believe it. George hasn't said a word. George hasn't asked if he's safe. George hasn't said a word in this 8-minute call. It's about a 9-minute call. Look, all these people who sit there, and I've said it before, oh, go drive Uber. I don't want your ass on the road after you've been working 60 hours a week and you're bum tired. I don't want you on the road.
And in 3 or 4 months have the money saved up to write a check for the difference to sell this stupid butt car and go buy you a $5,000 car for cash.
And like I said, will the girlfriend be around? Because there are women that are that shallow. I'm telling you, this now makes sense. This was a car to please the woman. It was a chick magnet. Mark my words.
And drive it until you can save up the money to get a better car, because you don't have a $900 payment going out. And check and see if they put an extended warranty on this. If they did, cancel it, and that'll give you a credit back towards the balance as well. Because I think they screwed you on that too. They got you with everything else, so they probably got you with that one too.
He let them. Your ignorance is another person's paycheck. Always remember that.
And so, yeah, cancel that. That might be a couple grand off that balance in there as well. Check your take-home pay. Something's wrong with it. We need to get home with more money. And if you find another $1,000 coming home, it'd be about right on your check. And I mean, surely you're not paying $1,000 a month for health care. You might be, but that wouldn't be a good benefit, actually. So anyway, that's
at the root of this question, Dave, is I think it's just something that the politicians sold this so much, this idea of there's a way we can just make debt go away.
All right, guys, it is 7:30 on Tuesday night. Let me go ahead and expand the screen. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, on Thursdays, we live stream. usually starting at 7 o'clock, sometimes starting at 7:15. My time is up. And so is yours. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye, everyone.